And welcome to the Kilachari Torah Daily Halacha Review and Sefirah Omer count for Friday, May 7th. Today is day number 40 of counting the Omer. Hayom Arba'im Yom Shehem Chamisha Shavuos V'Chamisha Yamim LaOmer. Looking at referencing day 40 of our Mishnah and Pirkei Avos about methods of acquiring Torah. Ma'amido al hashalom. Ma'amido al hashalom. The requirement here is to ensure that any interaction with someone else, certainly one which involves a Jewish subject, Torah learning, should result in love and peace between them. That is true lesson for life. The Gemara teaches that even when you're disagreeing with someone else, Talmidei Chachamim can become very strong in their strongly held opinions. However, they do not cease their learning until they've reached shalom and love for one another. The Shach, Rabbi Shabsi HaKohen, who lived in Poland, Lithuania, in the middle 1600s, happens to be an ancestor of my wife, wrote an entire Sefirah called Nekudas HaKesef, in which he disputed the rulings of his contemporary, the Taz, the Turei Zahav. In his introduction, the Shach goes at lengths to explain that in essence there was immense love, tremendous respect and admiration between him and the Taz, to the point that he hosted the Taz in his house for 3 days once, where he honored him and they rejoiced together until the Taz kissed the Shach on the head out of sheer joy. This is the kind of agreement that should take place between Talmidei Chachamim. And if them, who are possessors of such great wisdom and insight and knowledge, and know truth from its opposite, so how much more so the rest of us? Rav Chaim Soloveitchik went out of his way to ensure that peace reigned at all times. There was once an argument in the town that revolved around checking the lungs of an animal after doing the shechita. You have to make sure that it's a kosher animal. Some people around the town wanted the rabbi to outlaw a particular shochet, not permit his shechita, as they felt he was an expert, and others felt he was satisfactory. Rav Chaim sided with the party who wanted to keep the shochet. He said, checking the lungs of an animal is a rabbinic requirement. However, everyone knows that avoiding conflict, machlokas, is a mitzvah deoraisa. It's a Torah commandment to avoid strife amongst Jews. We can all take a lesson from that as well. Next section in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch talks about laws containing preparation on the first day of Yom Tov, for the second day of Yom Tov, or for a weekday, second day of Yom Tov into the following day. All malacha that is permitted on Yom Tov, we spoke about it at the outset of our exploration here of Hilchos Yom Tov, in other words, generally speaking, things to do with eating, with preparing food for that particular day, and also we said carrying. Anything permitted on Yom Tov is permitted only if it's necessary for that day. But to prepare on first day of Yom Tov for the second day, even if it's Rosh Hashanah, and certainly for a weekday, we are not permitted to do. However, if you need to cook for that day, you're cooking on first day of Yom Tov, you're allowed to take a larger pot and fill it with meat or whatever you're cooking, even though you don't need so much for that day, and you can leave a little bit for the evening or for the next day. Only in the case of cooked food is this permitted because it tastes better if you make a large quantity of meat cooked in one pot. This is permitted provided you don't expressly state that the leftovers are for another day or for the freezer or whatever it is. It should be cooked without mentioning anything at all. Don't tell anybody. In the case of all other foods, it's forbidden to add to that day's needs, even if a little additional labor is entailed because on account of having added to it. Okay, so the day is supposed to be a sacred and a holy day unto itself, and even though we are allowed to cook food that wouldn't be quite as good if we were to cook it earlier and keep it in the fridge for a couple of days, nevertheless, we should avoid adding onto that, even if at all possible. Okay, let's take a moment and remind ourselves that this evening, Erev Shabbos, earliest candlelighting time is 6:57, 3 minutes before 7 p.m. Actual candlelighting time is 8:09 this evening. Unfortunately, as it seems, we will not be meeting in the shul for Mincha and Kabbalat Shabbat. If we were to do that, it would be at 7. So if you'd like to daven together at the same time, that is the time to do that. We'll daven Shacharis at home again tomorrow morning. It is Shabbos Chazak, so we're reading 2 portions tomorrow. That would be Bahar and Bechukosai. I see by the old sign on the wall. Double portion of Bahar Bechukosai, and we will finish off the book of Vayikra with that, finish off the book of Leviticus, and say Chazak, Chazak, V'nes Chazek. So feel free to shout that as loud as you like tomorrow at home. We should also note that it is Shabbos Mevarchim, Shabbat Mevarchim, we are saying the blessing and asking Hashem to shower down blessings of health and happiness and well-being for us and for the whole world, really, on the new month of Sivan, which will begin later this week. The Mola, the reappearance of the moon in Yerushalayim, the eternal and undivided capital of Israel, will take place this coming Tuesday night at 8:31 p.m. with 7 halakim. The Moiled wird sein in Yerushalayim Dienstag bei Nacht, 31 Minuten mit 7 halakim nach 8 Azeger. Rosh Chodesh is a one-day Rosh Chodesh in Sivan. That will be Tuesday night and Wednesday. So Tuesday night you say Yalav Yavo, and on Wednesday we daven Musaf and say Hallel and everything that goes with Rosh Chodesh. Okay, Saturday night, tomorrow evening, the end of Shabbat is at 9:18, 18 minutes past 9. So please join us for Havdalah by Zoom at 9:28. If you have not yet purchased at minimum a Mother's Day card, if that's applicable to you, so now's the time to do it. Sunday is Mother's Day. Have a good day, a good Shabbos, a good Chodesh, all good things.